Hello, water signs, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm starting a series of timeless readings on differing topics, and they'll be based on the element of your sign. So, this will be Earth reading today for water signs in motherhood. So, water signs that would be Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, and the topic will be motherhood. And what we're going to do is take a look at your past and maybe the attitudes that you've brought into motherhood with you, your present, how you're managing life as a mother, and then take a look at possible things ahead of you and how you can manage those type things. So, leave a comment down below if these readings resonate with you. If you do have other timeless topics that you'd like to see readings on, please let me know in those comments, or, just anything, any comment that you have on these readings. I've come up with these readings just for this channel, and I really do hope that you can take something away and use in your life. So, without further ado, let's get started with water signs in motherhood. We're going to use a few fun decks today, I believe. I think they're fun decks. The first one is the Alice in Wonderland Tarot deck, and I'm only using the major arcana. The minor arcana, they're a little bit different than the Rider Waite, and I'm not completely comfortable. First, they're hilarious. I love them. But as a reader, I'm not super comfortable with all of those cards quite yet. I need to just spend a little bit more time with that deck. So what we'll do is pull from the major arcana, and the first card we're going to pull is kind of the attitude in which you approach motherhood, and that's the card that we're looking for. And actually, two cards came out for water signs here. So we've got the Hierophant card, and we also have the Emperor. So, water signs, looks like you guys come at it with kind of a spiritual attitude, which is really great. So there's kind of more of a philosophy and a spiritualness in which you approach things, but also the Emperor, which is kind of a controlled thing. So maybe you've kind of, you've mapped out some things, how things are going to go and how you would like things to play out. So lots of, ahead thinking. I'm not surprised with any of you, with any Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, that you would go about things in both of those manners. So, kind of controlled and again, with kind of a philosophy that you've either adapted or come up with on your own, and or whatever. So funny that I also just saw at the bottom. No, it was the bottom there. The actual Hierophant popped in there, so that's funny. Anyway, so we're going to pull three cards here, and this is going to be kind of about your roots, your personality, your traits, strengths, weaknesses, things that you brought in to, just from your personality that you've brought into motherhood with you. So the first one is that you are kind of forward thinking. You think about the future, and this is probably, this Emperor with this, having a plan. You think about the future, you think about where you're going and how you're going to get there. So that's definitely a part of your personality that you've brought into motherhood, is that you develop a plan. You've got some thoughts ahead of you. Look at these calm emotional waters. We're not worried about anything. And there's a little child here with you that you're taking along into the future with you. And there's a plan in place. So let's pull another card here. All right, we've got the Six of Wands here. So, you also come in with an attitude of, not only is there going to be a plan, and I like how there's two sixes here, but that also you're going to celebrate that plan, and you're going to celebrate those milestones as you, and this appears to be how you've been living your life, up, like I said, this is what the attitude that you're bringing into motherhood. So, you're very, here's my plan, I'm going to stick to this thing, and then we're going to celebrate that plan, and then we're probably going to make another plan and move on to the next goal. So very goal oriented and very kind of just laying out things and accomplishing things. That's the attitude in which you're coming into this with. Also with the King of Swords. So, this is, once you know a thing intellectually, it's yours, and you're just not afraid to think it or speak it or have that attitude. So that's kind of the spirit in which you're coming in with motherhood, which is pretty awesome. So now we're going to take a look at what your present is, kind of how you're handling motherhood right now. How are you handling things at the moment? And the first card that's coming up here is the Star card. So, just like these other, this is about knowing that you are on course. You have a direction. You know where you're headed. You know where the destination is, and that's how you make your decisions. You kind of, there's the clarity about you, and I wouldn't. It does not differ from any of these cards in the bottom. So, once you became a mother, you still have like, okay, now maybe a little bit softer is kind of the feeling I'm getting, is that it's not and almost down here with these cards, I'm getting the feeling is like, maybe when it came to your education, you're like, I'm getting this degree and bam, 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 you got it, you're celebrating. Um, I am accomplishing this thing, I'm going to get this job, and bam, 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 you go, and you've kind of softened a little bit, even though you still kind of have that attitude, but there's a little bit of a softening, like, yeah, we've got a direction, but things come up, and we have to be a little bit more flexible, a little bit more malleable. Look at the water. This water, we're pouring it from one to the other. This is, where we've gone from these super, super calm waters that now there's a little bit, there's some emotion that's involved here. And that you kind of have to balance that emotion with the practicality of the world, that things change when you have kids. You can't, um, there's just change happening all the time, but it seems like you're adapting. You still have the idea that there's a direction. You're just a little bit softer about it, which is fine. The other thing is the Empress card. So, very funny that we've got the Emperor and then here's the Empress. So the Empress is kind of where the Emperor is very much about control, and we're getting things done, and we're a leader. The Empress is that, but also it's just in its feminine form. I mean, this card literally represents pregnancy and childbirth, on its own. But this is also, the birthing of thoughts and ideas, so that while you have a direction, you're also able to formulate a plan, um, and that's to get this child, when we're talking about, maybe their education, that there is a plan in place, that we're going to learn how to do this and this. But as different things come up, you're just a little bit more malleable. Like I said, you're able to kind of roll with those punches, but you do have a very it's a nurturing plan, and it's about, creativity, and you're able to roll with those punches, like I said, with the Star card, which is just, that's beautiful, beautiful energy. All right, another card here is the Hierophant. Here he pops out again. So, again, you appear to be approaching motherhood with definitely, some sort of philosophy that you are teaching this child, or this could be that you're raising them in a religion. So there's kind of a structure there, and there's some way in which you are, passing on the things that and like I said, this could be, via church or via whatever spiritual practice that you are a part of. This it's something that's very important to also imprint on your children. So there is that as well. We are now going to take a look at some issues that have been coming up most often for you in motherhood, and advice for those issues. So let's take a look at those cards. First, we have the Queen of Cups. So, I wouldn't expect anything less of you to be completely in control emotionally. Let's make sure that that's a good thing to be, is just to kind of have that overseeing understanding of emotions and how things work. And I know the reading that I just did for the air sign, we had a discussion about being too hands-on, where I see this card as really kind of, you're going to let your kids do the go through the motions of things, and you're not going to be try to be super super hands-on and involved with that sort of stuff. You're going to let them kind of work some things out, and then have an understanding, and be there for their counsel and whatever, but you're not going to try to be that parent that jumps in and tries to solve their problems, which is awesome. So that's a really great way to be going about that. Another issue that you may be encountering right now is the King of Pentacles. So this is kind of helping your kids understand the mastery of the material world. And this is, how do you manage money? How do you keep your room clean? How do you, there seems to be some element of that where that's something that's important to you and something that's important for you to pass on to your kids is that control of the material. So your kids probably have a piggy bank or a bank account, and that's important for you that they understand, how money work. Maybe they're getting an allowance, and some people will go so far as to take taxes out of that allowance. Like, here's your allowance, and here's taxes for the house, and that goes into this fund that pays for everybody's, pizza night or whatever. So just so that kids really have an understanding of how money works and how it works to keep your room in order. Your clean laundry goes here and your dirty stuff goes here, and we keep our toys in order. That seems to be something that you're trying to pass on to your kids, and that's not a bad thing. That's something that kids do need to learn. It seems to be something that is very important to you. Another issue that you may be dealing with right now is the Seven of Swords. So, I think when it comes to parenthood, what this might be is learning that, this is air energy, right? And air energy with a water sign. This is, how are you communicating? And are you dealing with a child that is maybe being less than honest? This is kind of our card of cunning and craftiness. This can be, theft and hidden agenda. This can be, and it could be thought, these are thoughts that you're dealing with too, and a way of communicating. And that may be something that you're approaching. And this could be, maybe some of you have kids that are in those teen years where they're trying to get away with something, and they're trying to be a little crafty. And you know how teenagers are, they think they know it all, but we've all been there before them. Right? So there's that wisdom, this wisdom here, that royal wisdom of that, knowing the emotion, knowing the physical world. And you're just going up against this kid who's like, well, I'm a teenager, I know it all. So looks like that might be something that you are either managing right now, or something that's maybe coming up for you. And the best way to do it is to really take these skills that you're coming into this with, which is kind of this control. You're probably going to have a firm hand, and also with the Hierophant energy is really, to impart upon these teenagers, what it means to be a good spiritual citizen, and to have a philosophy, and to have morals, and things like that. What is the bigger picture? So, I really see that that is a way for you to manage that. We are going to pull a card here from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. I love this deck. It really has some beautiful pictures on it. And what we're looking for here is, which animal should you manage, these things that you might be approaching and having to deal with, especially this one here. How should you deal with kind of that rebellious teenage spirit? And what we're going to do is pull an animal out of this deck, and we'll see if I can describe the animal. If not, you may need to go look up and just kind of think about taking on the elements of, how that animal deals with things. And so that's kind of the information we're looking for here. Sometimes I can read these cards and be like, oh yeah, I know what that animal is. Sometimes not. So let's see with this one, the card that comes up for you. Funny. Tarot is so strange. And these cards, I just had this card come up in the last reading, I think, for air signs. So if you have a spouse that's an air sign, so this is a stingray. And what are they? They're a little bit stealthy. So if you're dealing with this kind of, like I said, that teenage rebellious energy, that kind of, they think they're being crafty. Besides the emperor and the Hierophant, you're going to use this element of the stingray. And just think about a stingray in the ocean, where they're very quiet and stealthy, and maybe they're gathering information, and we're not really letting on to this teenager that certain things, and more than them. So I don't know if we're going to go as far as like spying, but you're definitely going to hold that information close to your chest. And then when it's time to attack, here comes that stinger. And phew. So that's kind of the way that you are going to have to be dealing with that. We are also going to pull a card here from the Audacity deck. And this deck, if you've never seen it, it's hilarious. My daughter-in-law got this for me, and every time I pull a card from here, I crack up because the cards are funny. So this is us taking just a little bit more of a humorous look at how to deal maybe with this rebellious teenage spirit. And we'll see what the Audacity deck has to say for us. Pull this card out here, the Hermit. Oh, I love the picture here. And look, that's the Hermit, and it is a mother and a little child just right at her feet there. Just like, why? Why do you need to go within? Why do you, look at the cell phone being held up? That's why this deck is so funny. I just want to get away with my cell phone. And, this child's like, no, no, no. So, hermiting, the hermit card typically is about finding your inner wisdom, and realize here, this card says to me that realize that you are, even though they're teenagers, you're still kind of dealing with kind of a toddler mentality, and they still do need to be mothered. And I think that teenage attitude of being a little bit rebellious and being a little crafty is just them trying to get, sometimes it's just an attention getting thing. They're trying to get your attention and make sure, are you still paying attention? Are you still with me here? And some kids are looking for that. And it's kind of, it's that tough love in a way that you want to, pull them back from the crazy thing that they might be trying to get involved with or whatever. And but there, it's an attention getting tactic. So use your wisdom on that. Again, use your stingray energy. Make sure you know more than they think you know until that information needs to come out. So, well, water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, I really hope that there was something in this reading that you can take away, as you're going through motherhood. I really hope, again, there was something useful. If you're comfortable sharing, leave me a comment down below. Hold on a second. Let me grab a drink. Leave me a comment down below and let me know if there's other timeless topics that you're curious in hearing about. I might bring some of those out to do readings, but this is something that I think I'm going to do once a month. I do also do weekly readings based on your sun sign. So if you want to like and subscribe this channel, and those readings will pop up for you. I also do daily card readings as well. So mothers, I do really appreciate your time here with me. And again, I hope there was something that you can take away and use. If you're comfortable sharing, let me know what things you're going through in motherhood out there. And I wish you just the best of luck, and try to get through it with a little bit of just a sense of humor here, right? Got to laugh at everything. So thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.